Hello and welcome to Rule 3's video review for Rise of the Tomb Raider, a action-adventure game for the Xbox One from Crystal Dynamics. So this is the follow-up to the reboot of Tomb Raider that came out a few years ago. And it's only for the Xbox One. It is a time exclusive, but like I said, it's on the Xbox One only right now. And I was really happy with the reboot of Tomb Raider, so I've been actually very anxious to get my hands on Rise of the Tomb Raider. To see if it was able to improve on some of the areas I thought needed improving. And on the whole, it does.
This statue must be the immortal prophet. And this, it shows the exodus of his people from the deserts of Syria.
So the story of Rise of the Tomb Raider takes place a little bit after the events of the reboot. Lara is now trying to follow in her father's footsteps and looking for what is known as the Tomb of the Prophet, which was the last thing her father was kind of investigating and researching before he died. She is doing this while also being chased down by a fanatical group known as Trinity, and if you beat the reboot with 100%, find all the files and everything, it did hint at this group in a later file. So Lara is in a race against time to find the Tomb of the Prophet before Trinity, and that's pretty much it without going into spoilers. Story-wise is really good. I think it's slightly better than the reboot. It's great to see kind of Lara not only trying to, figure out what her dad was trying to figure out, but just kind of that whole relationship that she had with her father is a little bit more drawn out, as well as the villains are actually very interesting. Trinity is a very interesting group, and the lead villains are really, really good. And there's some good twists and turns. So it was definitely a step up, and I'm really glad to see Tomb Raider keep the narrative momentum it had from the first game, the reboot anyway.
That's where I need to go. This should come in handy.
Alright, gameplay. So, if you played the reboot, Rise of the Tomb Raider pretty much plays exactly the same. However, it is refined and almost near perfect in terms of what they're going for. Climbing mechanics are still unchanged. If you grab a ledge, you have a chance of having to do a quick time event to re-grab ledges. Traversal is a little quicker and easier. The pacing, I think, is really good. The camp, you can still find campfires to, fast travel between areas. The map's a lot bigger than, or at least it seems a little bigger than the reboot, as well as the hunting and crafting being a lot better. So I'm going to go into crafting and hunting a little bit. So like in the reboot, there are wild animals that you can kill, skin, resources in the environment to get. However, unlike the reboot, which just had, I believe, salvage and then the skins that you could get, Rise has a lot of different resources that you can use to make different types of weapons, some on the fly. So like if you find a bottle and you have a cloth on you, you can make a Molotov. On the spot, you can make more arrows if you have like wood and some salvage, or wood and something else, I forget. But all the resources are used to make things on the fly, as well as to upgrade your equipment. And the cool thing about equipment this time is, instead of just having a bow, a gun, a machine gun, is you still have that, but you have different types of guns that have different kind of perks on them. So when you upgrade a gun to have certain perks, while some of those guns may have that same perk, so if you unlock it, all those guns get it, but other guns have certain perks that other guns don't have, that if you do that, it makes that gun a little better at something else. And it was really cool to see the variety of weapons increase, as well as just the general amount of crafting involved and gathering. Tombs are back. Which was one of my biggest, I think probably really the only complaint I had about the reboot of Tomb Raider, where the tombs didn't feel like tombs, and there's only a handful. Rise of the Tomb Raider fixes that. The tombs are now vastly different from one another. They're well hidden, and they were a lot of fun, a lot more puzzles involved, and I think it was just more of the variety, and they felt more like tombs than caves with stuff in it, as well as it not just being a giant chest at the end that you go, open, pick out thing, close, that's it. When you find the item at the end, it does feel a little bit more like a congratulations kind of moment, which was really nice. Combat is, once again, it's a third-person shooter. I still don't like the cover system in this game because it really doesn't have one. It does, but it doesn't. It's weird. But it's not the greatest cover system. So I just feel that could have been improved. However, stealth in this game is a lot better. The AI is little bit smarter, as well as when you use your survival instincts, which is back, which highlights things, it'll tell you if like an enemy is in line of sight of another enemy. So if you take that one out, they'll see you, and in general you can distract and do a couple other things, and the stealth is just a lot better designed in this one. Other than that, there's artifacts in the environment, notes, other fun things you can find. There's also a merchant that sells special items for rare coins that you find. That's also a really nice touch. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the merchant from Resident Evil 4, and it was a nice, like I said, it was a nice little touch. I really did enjoy having kind of this one guy that sold stuff. And also there are now also missions. Missions are basically missions. You talk to this certain people in the game, and they will tell you to go do something. And upon completing these missions, you'll get items or upgrades or stuff like that. It's really cool. Just gives you, once again, it's just more stuff to do. They're a little bit better than the challenges, which are back. Which were, you're in a certain area, and a good example is this: go find all 5 caves in the area, or get 4 stealth kills in a row, stuff like that. Missions just felt more like you're helping the overall fight against Trinity, which was really cool. Let's see, that's pretty much it in terms of the gameplay. Overall, like I said, other than really the shooting mechanics, which I think could be worked on a little bit, like I said, if you love the reboot, I mean, this really just takes it to the next level in terms of what they were going for.
Is that the way through?
Yes. There'll be more of them inside. We don't have to do this.
Can't get rid of me so easily. Still need some answers.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, in my opinion, is the Arkham City of the Arkham Knight franchise, or, Arkham Asylum franchise. Arkham Asylum set, the groundwork, was a really solid game. Arkham City took that and just made everything better. Rise of the Tomb Raider does that. Tomb Raider, the reboot, was really good. Rise just takes it and makes it better. It didn't change a whole lot, which didn't need to. It fixed a couple of the problems that people had with the original, or what they did have with the reboot, other than, in my opinion, the shooting and combat mechanics. But everything else was highly improved and is definitely, once again, I'm glad I have my Xbox to play this game now, because I'm really digging it. I'm giving Rise of the Tomb Raider a buy rating. And that's it. Next week's review will be for Star Wars Battlefront. Also, if you check our channel, we also had the Fallout 4 review go up yesterday. So if you might want to check that out. Sinister Dreamer headed up that one since I was doing this one. So that's it. So thanks for listening, everybody. Remember to check out rule3.com for all the reviews and postings that we do every now and then. I'm trying to get more content, a little more regular, but we slowed down a little bit due to holidays and work and stuff. Like us on Facebook and Twitter, all that fun stuff. And until next time, always remember to trust in the rule of 3.